The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation promotes, preserves, and perpetuates music, culture, and heritage through programs, cultural, educational, and economic activities year-round. Learn more at jazzandheritage.org. This program is brought to you in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support education, the arts, and culture in the greater New Orleans area.
I'm Peggy Laborde, and welcome to Steppin Out, with updates from the local restaurant, arts, and entertainment scenes. Joining me, Michael Aaron Santos, director of the Shakespeare-themed comedy Born with Teeth, now Le Petit Theatre. Welcome, Michael.
Thank
you. Great to see you.
It's
Hello.
good to be here. Appreciate it.
Delighted. Gerard Jerry Schoen III, and he is the Community Outreach Director for Lakelawn Metairie Funeral Home and Cemeteries, with much to share about some very rich history. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Hello, it's good to see you. And visual and performing artist, of course, Josė Torres-Tama. He's back. Good to see you.
A
Hello.
pleasure.
Hey.
A pleasure.
And with a brand new show, pianist and singer Phil Melancon, who will be performing for us. Hello.
Hey,
hello. Hi. Poppy Tooker and Alice Mason return next week. Michael, you're up first. You certainly had to brush up your Shakespeare with what you're doing this time at Le Petit.
Great pun, and this play is has plentiful puns in it. But it's a great little play. It's a two-person play. It's billed as a comedy, but it's got some serious parts to it as well. It's sort of a spy thriller, if you can imagine.
And we're going to show a little montage as we talk, too.
Yeah.
But it's just two people.
Just two people. Ian Hoke and Dylan Hunter. Ian plays Christopher Marlowe, a contemporary of Shakespeare, and Dylan plays William Shakespeare. And it imagines the two men meeting in a tavern to write Henry VI Part 1, which actually probably happened, at least to some degree, because we believe that it was a collaborative work. But it sort of twists when the spy world that Christopher Marlowe is wrapped up in, we not to give anything away, but we quickly find out that he's got alternative motives to be there in addition to writing the play. So things sort of spark into tension-filled moments after that.
Well, with just two people, though, there's a lot of movement.
Yes.
So you're the director.
Yes.
You were busy with that.
Yeah, and now it has Shakespeare in it, but it's modern speech. Now they're wonderful accents, so it's set in 1591 in the back of a tavern. But it's a small stage, a beautiful stage designed by designed by Lucas Harms, and it's a really great imagining because these men are sort of trapped in this spy world. The author gives us a really reminds us there was a very tyrannical, oppressive time in Elizabethan England, and so we're sort of caged in this web, so to speak, where these two men. But directing Ian Hoke and Dylan was just fabulous. So.
Absolutely. Now, a few years back, you wrote a play, and because you don't just act and direct, that was Shakespearean influence, The Henchman in Iambic Pentameter.
Yeah, that was a NOLA project production, and it was done in the Sculpture Garden, and it was actually a sequel to Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream. So, I guess A.J. Allegra at La Petite thought I had, some Shakespeare knowledge, so he wanted to throw me into this play.
Now let's talk about your day job.
Yeah, 17 years at Delgado Community College. I had to walk a whole 200 yards to get over here today. So time's flown by. I've been with the theater department there for, like I said, 17 years. Was the director of theater there for about 7 years. And now I'm just the chair of theater. That's an academic. an academic role, but I chair some other departments, fine arts, music, some history.
And you have
such.
played Stanley Kowalski in your past.
Yes, with my wife as Stella. We for Southern Rep, their production's 2012.
And the Stanley and Stella shouting contest with Tennessee Williams.
With Ashley as well.
And let us do a shout out to your lovely wife. And what is she up to these days?
She teaches at the Willow School by day, but she's actually rehearsing for The Tempest Reimagined going on right now. And if I could say this, my son just finished crew for his middle school production of Midsummer Night's Dream. So it's been a Shakespeare April for the Santoses. So,
well, congratulations.
Thank
it's
you.
great to have you. And once again, through this weekend at Le Petit.
Yeah. 4 more shows. Yep.
And you can always go and eat a tableau before.
Absolutely.
And let me ask you this, Born with Teeth, why that title? People will be curious.
It's not to give away too much of the plot, but it's sort of an homage to these men that sort of awakening their darker side in them. They're sort of born with a nasty side.
Okay.
I don't know if that's the best way to put it, but it's got a little, and it's a quote from Shakespeare as well. So it's in.
And I have
in
to say, one of my
Henry VI.
all-time favorite films, if folks have never seen it, is Shakespeare in Love.
Yes.
It's very smart.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
and as well as entertaining.
This play is very witty. It's gritty with panache. That's the way I would
I like
describe
that.
it. Yeah.
Gritty with panache. Thank you, Michael. It's great to see you. And Jerry, my goodness, Metairie Cemetery, I mean, not only, of course, most of us are very aware of its beauty, but there's quite the history.
There is quite the history. I'll mention to you that it used to be Metairie Racecourse, a horse racetrack, prior to it becoming Metairie Cemetery when we opened in 1872. So what we're going to wind up doing is having events in the cemetery that help out the community, and a new event that I'm really looking forward to that we're going to have that's going to be on May the 19th, coming up, this May the 19th, 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock, is with Bike Easy. Bike Easy is a local nonprofit organization that deals with bicycle safety in New Orleans. Unfortunately, New Orleans, I think this is true, has the highest death rate of bike crashes in the United States. And a lot of it is our compact city and the way our streets are or whatever. So what we're going to wind up doing is having a ceremonial and a memorial to honor those who lost their lives. We're going to wind up having educational type material out here, and then we're going to have a ceremonial bike ride. It's not a race per se, through our Metairie Cemetery. And
Well, the beauty of it all, and it's free, huh?
it's
People
free.
Just go.
It's free. We'll wind up having ghost bikes out there, and
And what's a ghost bike for those who are uninitiated?
it's a symbolism of the death there itself. Usually mostly white bikes that you'll wind up seeing.
You see them around town.
You see them all around town there.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and there'll be some educational type material. So we're really looking forward to it. So.
Well, the race course, I mean, it's very clear if anyone has loved ones out there, as I do, to go to where you need to go. It's obvious we're looking at something that had to have been a race course because of just the configuration of the streets.
One quick thing, for the people coming for that event on bike, what we're going to do is open the back gate of Metairie Cemetery, which is on Metairie Road, so you don't have to go down the service roads to get there. It'll be a little bit safer for entry on the bike. For those carrying bikes on a car, you just come through the regular gates there. But we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, and that these aerial shots just show that it is just so clearly that. Now, how did it become a race course?
Well, it became a race course because Charles Howard was a gentleman from Baltimore, Maryland, who came down in the 1850s to New Orleans, and he wound up having the idea of forming a new type of cemetery in New Orleans. You already had established wall vault cemeteries, the compact wall vault cemeteries, and they had a lot of money coming in New Orleans at that point. New Orleans was almost 100 years old. He had a lot of Creole money coming in here, and he had the idea of building a new type of cemetery, a park-like cemetery. The quick story is the Civil War broke out. It hurt New Orleans. The Metairie Racecourse Board of Directors decided not to come back as recreational sport. Charles Howard, who had formed Metairie Cemetery Association before it was even built with this idea, wound up stepping in and buying the race course. And so I give him more credit than anybody else with the formation of Metairie Cemetery. Once again, it's opened in 1872.
Wow, which is around the time of the race course, the fairgrounds, too.
That's correct. In fact, 2 of those board members broke away and started the fairgrounds. So there is a horse racing history element in there. 2 quick things I want to mention is about Metairie Cemetery. We're on the National Register of Historic Places. And even more impressive, Forbes, the business magazine, named our cemetery one of the top 10 most interesting in the world. not the South, not the United States, the world. And only 4 from the United States are even on that list.
Well, you have a lot of luminaries there too. What is it, 9 Rexes and some pretty famous people.
We have 85 kings, mostly kings and queens of Carnival is the proper way that we wind up saying that in our cemetery. So it is chock full of Mardi Gras royalty in the cemetery. I mean, I'll just mention a couple of brief notables or whatever. We have Tom Benson, Anne Rice that we have in there, Harry Lee, Ruth Fertel, Al Copeland.
Wow.
I mean,
a lot of those main tombs are right up front too.
Some of them are up front. 9 Louisiana governors are buried in that cemetery. Yeah, 7 Supreme Court justices. It's just a fabulous place so far as the history of the place is concerned. So
well, the traditions, in the a century ago would be that sometimes on like All Saints Day,
right,
you would go and some people still do it. They refurbish their tomb or they clean up the tomb in terms of flower and put up maybe fresh flowers.
Sure.
But I've actually seen some people picnic out there.
Oh, definitely. All Saints Day is a big thing. By the way, we have been fortunate to have a relationship with Archbishop Amon over the last decade or so. He comes out and we do an annual All Saints Day Mass, which is fabulous. But the All Saints Day activity usually is like a 2 or 3 day event where people come a little bit early or what have you. And it was an era back when where they would come out and they would do the whitewashing, they would do the weeding or whatever. Some of the newer graves have now perpetual care, where the cemetery takes care of it. You still have some people that still come and want to take care of the graves. I think that's a neat thing that they still want to wind up keep on doing.
I love that you also put up flags, the little flags at certain times of the years, whether it's July 4th or
we have whatever the holiday season is. We do a lot of stuff for veterans and police officers, for those officers who lost their lives in the line of duty.
And let's talk about Bike to Remember.
Yeah.
Just a reminder, so you can go to the Bike Easy website, and there's all the information about that. And also you give tours.
I give tours. I would just tell you to call Lakelawn Metairie and just ask for myself. I mean, I'll do it when my schedule is free and stuff like that. But I'm passionate about tours, so I enjoy giving tours. Sometimes I have keys to show you places that you can't normally get into. So that's kind of interesting. It really is a fabulous place. So I've gone on air and I said that Metairie Cemetery, the 127 acres, has more New Orleans history than anywhere in the New Orleans region. And I truly mean that. That's in my opinion.
Well, good. Well, it's great to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
And moving to Josė, Open Studio, Dave.
Yes, and I just want to share, I have to share a poem with you that's called The Ghost Bikes, because they take my breath away, literally, whenever I see them. Yes, this weekend, 1329 St. Roch Avenue, I'm right behind the market. I'm opening the studio, the home studio, and you could see where I make the work, right? And that's where I get possessed by the duende spirit that I always speak about.
And we're going to show some of your work.
And I'll stay up, and sometimes I'll stay up and continue to work like late into the evening. I've been trying to turn my clock around, but I find that I was born, as my mom tells me, I was born at 2 a.m. in the morning. I find at 2 a.m. in the morning, if I'm up painting, some amazing things happen. So I try to possess it. And some of the pieces that I've been developing, like, for example, Henrietta DeLille piece, right? She's in the process. I think beautification. They're based on archival.
Yeah, she's venerable.
She's venerable, right?
Venerable,
so they're based on archival photographs, right?
Yes. And you have a music series. Let's talk about. Isn't this in preparation for a bigger exhibit?
Yes, the Color of Music show that we're supposed to be developing with the Jazz Museum. We're still having some funding challenges, but this is the very elusive Buddy Bolden.
Wow.
And very graphically, and then of course Mahalia Jackson, very graphically engaged. As you know, my palette is very tropical, very New Orleans, and very much on fire, I always find. And what I do is I often research these folks, so I'm trying to find out more. And Buddy Bolden is called the elusive Buddy Bolden because there's very little information on him, right? And the Mahalia Jackson is called the spiritual crooner because we have to remember that she was very politically involved in the civil rights movement and was a crooner and a singer and talking about governors. This is C.C. Antoine, by the way, the last man of color, African-American Creole man to be lieutenant governor. during the time of the Reconstruction period. So, and again, based on archival photographs. And this is based on the photograph in the fabulous book by Keith Weldon Medley.
Oh, yes.
Because Keith Weldon
Black
Medley and
New
I,
Orleans.
you know, he was basically my guide in developing the series on the Free People of Color, which was debuted at the museum. And this is, of course, Henrietta DeLille.
Yeah, so wonderful, and hopefully almost a saint on the path.
Yes.
On the path, you know.
And this is really Alice Ruth Moore Dunbar Nelson, very lesser known, but really important. 1875 when she was born, and a writer, a poet, an essayist, and she wrote the very important essay on the creolization of New Orleans and its people and the Creole culture, and engaged during a time when she couldn't even use the libraries. But her essay opens up the book by Miss Klein. It's called
Sybil Klein,
by
yes,
Sybil Klein,
sure.
yes, Creole, and it's really like an amazing look at Louisiana Creole history. And she's lesser known, but again, based on archival photographs.
Now, what medium are these images?
These are in pastels.
Wow.
I love
pastel,
drawing.
that's not easy.
No,
you
no,
know,
no.
to be
But I
able to
layered them
manipulate
because I
that.
studied traditional, drawing and painting at the Art Students Thing in New York. So I layered the work. So these take some pieces, right? But they pop like if they're paintings. And
Well, it's always great to have you with us, but just to share, in case folks aren't aware, that your versatility, because sometimes you've come here as a performer of a poet, a writer, performance artist. So you do a lot of things.
Well, I keep
very
myself
impressive.
busy. I tell my boys, try to find not just one thing, a number of things that you love to do. Yeah. And getting back to the project, Free People.
Yes.
This is the book that people can find at the at the Ogden Museum in their bookshop. This is of course my contemporary version of Marie Laveau, right? And it's there at the bookstore. And
you one more show and tell here,
and this
right?
this is a piece that I love. The print in raising the funds that we're trying to do. This is Boso Chavez, one of the Creole founders of Zydeco, right? And then Bruce Sampaio Barnes.
Oh, wow.
And Bruce is a really good friend of mine. So this is a really beautiful piece that we're selling. That I'll have these prints available.
So Torres-Tama.com
Torres-Tama.com.
to look for,
Right.
to get more information
To get
about
more information, and I'll have them available at the Open Studio this weekend.
that. Oh wow! Congratulations. So once
Thank you, my
again,
dear.
Saturday, and you're going to give a talk at 8 o'clock.
Yes, at 8
right?
p.m. I will be talking about both
The
series.
address one more time.
1329 St. Rock
It's
Avenue.
near St. Roch Market.
Right, it's 3 blocks behind the market at the corner of North Villery.
All right.
And there's always a lot of parking there, but you can park on the street. And yeah, I'll be opening up the home studio, and at 8 p.m. I'll be talking about both series, how they inspire me. One follows the other. The Free People of Color is a visual history project that goes right up to Reconstruction, and then I begin with Jelly Roll Morton in that series, because everyone forgets that jazz, blues, and gospel, especially, they were created during deep segregation in New Orleans. So I always find these genres that are American music genres as the expression of a people experiencing some serious oppression during their time. So you'll see a large Jelly Roll Morton piece that I have there, and I'll have by Saturday a little bit more work on Danny Barker piece and Lulu.
Wonderful. Okay, good. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Phil, it's been a busy time because just a little bit earlier, through the magic of TV, you did a performance for us. But tell us about your new show.
Well, this shows the music of Dave Frischberg.
Now, who's Dave Frischberg?
That's what everybody says, including me, actually, until a little while back. Well, he was a wonderful jazz pianist, and but he was split, like Josė. He wanted to be a musician, but he couldn't get into the University of Minnesota Music School for a degree, so he got a journalism degree. Then he goes off to New York and becomes a well-known pianist, jazz pianist. But because he was so good with his journalism, with his words, he became a first-class lyricist. First-class lyricist. And wrote with some of the best people and for some of the best people.
Tell us some of the people who have recorded him.
Oh, Tony Bennett, Mel Torme, Rosemary Clooney, Diane Krall, Bette Midler.
Amazing.
But unfortunately, he had a face for radio and his voice made bats fly into walls. You know, but he could write a song.
And some of his most famous is from the School of Rock. He said.
Well, he wrote for a lot of things, but the Schoolhouse Rock, he wrote songs for that. He wrote you know, "Peel Me a Grape," which is the
Isn't that the
great
famous
Mae
line
West,
from Mae West?
line,
Yes.
yeah. And "I'm Hip." They just made an Academy Award nominated film about just that song. That was nominated. That's how I was introduced to
Well,
it.
tell us about the song you're performing for us. You performed for
Little
us.
Did I Dream. Well, he wrote this one for Tony Bennett.
Oh.
And he wrote it with Johnny Mandel, who also wrote like the theme for MASH. And,
Okay. And who are you
and
playing
this-
with today?
And I'm playing with Dave Malecker, my
All
wonderful
right.
bassist. Not my wonderful bassist. He is a wonderful
Okay.
bassist.
And this will be part of your show. And we'll
yeah,
tell
we'll
us
be
more
doing the
about
show
that.
over at
Yeah.
Monkey Hill.
Yeah.
And we open this Sunday.
Yeah, for 2
And,
weeks. Huh?
yeah, Mother's
So
Day.
let's hear a little bit of "Little Did I Dream."
Well, thank you. Here's a little number that Dave Frischberg wrote for Mr. Tony Bennett. Little did I know when we collided, fate was on the scene, was decided. It's time we met, but little did I ever dream. All that I could do was stammer and stumble. Didn't have a clue, I'd take a tumble. I would never regret. Little did I ever dream. For I didn't see the great adventure waiting for me. For I knew exactly what my future would be. Had it all worked out, there was no doubt until I bumped into you. That was unexpected. You came into view and we connected. It was fate, I suppose. Little did I ever dream. I didn't see the great adventure waiting for me. Why, I knew exactly what my future would be, and it all worked out. There was no doubt, and then I bumped into you. Unexpected, you came into view, and we connected. That's fate, I suppose. But things are seldom what they seem. Why, little did I know, and little did I ever dream.
Yay! All right. So as you
Guys,
said,
great.
opening this weekend.
This weekend, yes, over at Monkey Hill.
Okay. And if folks want to get tickets, they can go to what website?
Melancon, just write to melansongs.com, melansongs@gmail.com.
Okay, and make a reservation, and or you
reservation.
show up at the door and pay a little fee.
Either way
and
is fine.
all of those things. Now you're also at the Hilton.
Yes, on weekends.
Okay, where?
Oh, at the Public
downtown.
Belt. The Public Belt, and
Where,
that's at the foot of Poitras,
Public Belt
where
Bar. Yeah.
where Winston Churchill's hailing a cab. Right, that
Exactly.
place.
Okay. Well, great. It's great to see you. Best to Heidi, and she's in the show. Huh?
She sure is.
All right,
That's
great. And now my picks. Artist Inga Falterman has a retrospective on view at Christwood Atrium Gallery in Covington, beginning with a reception on Saturday afternoon from 4:30 to 6:30. She focuses on large representational landscapes. Also Saturday at 4:30, you can watch our brand new program, A World's Fair to Remember, 40th anniversary on WYES, WYES.org, and WYES and PBS apps and YouTube. Sunday is the anniversary, can you believe it, of the fair opening 40 years ago.
40 years.
Incredible.
Yeah.
40 years ago. On Saturday evening, many magazine street galleries will be open for the Champagne Stroll, including Gillian Mack Fine Art, with the nationally esteemed artist Roland Golden's exhibit called Travelin' Light. The Louisiana Landmark Society presents their 2024 awards for excellence in historic preservation. That's next Tuesday at 5:30 at Gallier Hall. Tickets available online at eventbrite.com. Type in 2024 Awards of Excellence. And I am so thrilled because I'm going to be the MC. And looking ahead, the Fallburg Marigny Association will hold their annual home tour on Sunday, May 19th, starting at noon. 8 homes and gardens will be featured, so it's in 2 weeks. Go to tickets with FMIA11.wildapricot.org. Tickets also available day of, starting at noon at 704 Marigny Street on the corner of Royal. And just one more thing I wanted to mention. You've got another show right on the heels of the one that you're about to open.
Yeah, I'm doing a Jimmy Van Heusen show right after this one, right.
Lots of Sinatra in that?
Oh, yeah.
So in about 2
A
or
lot of
3
Bing
weeks
Crosby,
after
too.
that? Lots of Bing Crosby, okay. Thank you all so much. Happy Mother's Day. Thanks for watching. Good night.
Bye.
The New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation promotes, preserves, and perpetuates music, culture, and heritage through programs, cultural, educational, and economic activities year-round. Learn more at jazzandheritage.org. This program is brought to you in part by the Eugenie and Joseph Jones Family Foundation, a local foundation proud to support education, the arts, and culture in the greater New Orleans area.